How's it going, everyone? Now, you guys have heard me talk about ad nauseum about this Q1 games lineup, and really, the absolute chaos is kicking off at the end of this month, but February is looking to be one of the most insane months for game releases ever, especially if you're into Japanese games and Japanese RPGs, and I want to do something a little bit different in this video. We're gonna do a tier list of the upcoming games in February, and I'm gonna rank them, tier list them, whatever you want to call it, and it's gonna be graded based on my excitement level and overall my hype level. I've got 15 games in total here. We're gonna break it down as S, A, B, C, D, and E. No F here. I just thought this would work out a little bit better, and yeah, thought it would be pretty fun. Now, obviously, a lot of this is subjective in my opinion as far as games in my excitement level, so if you guys want to break it down yourself, let me know in the comments section. If you just want to list, you know, whatever games you're the most excited for in February, let me know. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys, please like this video and do leave a comment with your thoughts. It really does help out the channel a lot, and it is much appreciated. But let's get right into it, and let's just get the easiest one right out the gate. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth goes all the way at the top on the S tier. Now, FF7 Rebirth is a game that I've been wanting for a long time. After you completed Final Fantasy VII Remake and you realize, man, you really don't know where this story was going, it just made my excitement level for Final Fantasy VII Part 2, whatever it was going to be called, so much more greater. I was already excited going into the remake, but, you know, originally knowing it was probably going to be, you know, true to the original story, I was like, it's fine, I'm gonna enjoy it. But then when you realize, okay, we're going off the wall a little bit, we're gonna get a little crazy, that just made me all the more excited. And with Rebirth, we're really getting into the heart of Final Fantasy VII's narrative. We are getting into the meat and potatoes, so to speak, and we're getting to the big portion. And how Rebirth is going to conclude, I think, is going to be something that is very much going to be under a microscope. Now, obviously, if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I don't care what Square Enix is saying, go play the Final Fantasy VII Remake, because that is going to be something that you definitely want to play. It's a great game in its own right, and it's going to set up Rebirth. I get it, Square is saying that, oh, you can play Rebirth without playing Remake. Come on, guys, go play Remake if you haven't. If you pre-order Rebirth on the PlayStation Store, you get a free copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade as a pre-order bonus. No-brainer there, but yeah, for me, FF7 Rebirth, easy into the S tier. From one huge game, let's talk another game that's been in development for quite a while, but honestly goes into the bottom, and that is Ubisoft's Skull and Bones. This has been a long time coming, and after several delays, Skull and Bones is finally coming out, but I personally, from others, see no fanfare for this game, and my excitement level really not there whatsoever. And I loved Assassin's Creed 4's naval combat, and that really seems like where the brainchild from for Skull and Bones initially began, but the marketing and the push for this game has been seemingly non-existent, and I cannot imagine that this game is going to do well from a commercial standpoint. And my excitement level, again, when you look at everything else coming out in February, Skull and Bones is a game that I just don't see doing very well. Gotta put it bottom tier, not a game that I'm all too excited for. We're gonna throw Persona 3 Reload into the A tier. For some of you guys, this is gonna be an easy S tier. For me, excited for Persona 3 Reload, certainly, but Persona 3 was a game that I played on the PlayStation 2, and this does seem like it's gonna be true to the original story, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm still incredibly excited for Persona 3. Persona has never been my absolute favorite JRPG franchise, so when you're doing a remake of a game that I played through already, that's gonna temper my excitement a little bit, but just a tiny bit. I'm still incredibly excited for it, gonna be playing it day one and gonna have a great time with it, but it'll comfortably be in the A tier. Got Helldivers 2 coming out, a Sony-published title coming from Arrowhead Game Studios. Loved Helldivers 1, and I'm gonna throw Helldivers 2 into the B tier. Excited for the game. This is certainly gonna be a game you want a group of people to play with, since cooperative play is so important to a game like Helldivers 2. A little bit of a left up from a presentation standpoint from Helldivers 1, coming out at a difficult time, surrounded by so many other big titles. Hope it does well. I think, you know, this is a game that would have done really well as a PlayStation Plus Essential title. We have foamstars as a Plus Essential game, but unfortunately Helldivers 2, not a Plus Essential title. Speaking of foamstars, we're gonna slide that into the C tier. Now, Foamstars is a game that I didn't have a lot of interest in going in, but it seemed like a lot of people did enjoy the early access period, and the fact that it is a PlayStation Plus Essential game gonna make it a lot more accessible to a lot more people, and I think ultimately that's gonna make it a little bit more worthwhile for people to check out. It is going to be, again, a Plus Essential title. After that period, if you add it to your library, it's yours to own. You're gonna need a Plus subscription to play online, you know, that's just the way things work, and after that period, it will be a $30 pay-to-play title, but most of you guys should be picking it up free with PlayStation Plus, or quote-unquote free, but I'll throw it in the C category. A lot of people are gonna compare it to Splatoon, but is what it is as far as that's concerned. We're gonna throw Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered into the D tier. I'm not crazy about the early Tomb Raider games. You guys know me. Tomb Raider really won me over after the Tomb Raider 2013 reboot or reimagining origin story, whatever you want to call it, but I see a lot of people excited for the originals, and if you have the nostalgic attachment towards the game, definitely a reason to be excited. Kind of one of these releases that's a sleeper as well, so be on the lookout for that. We're also gonna throw the Inquisitor into the D tier. This is an action title that isn't getting a lot of love. I've been following it since its initial reveal. Just think it's coming out at a really bad time as a new IP from a not so well-known studio. That's just going to be a difficult time, but thematically the game looks interesting. I have interest in it. I just think it's coming out at a bad time and not a game I'm going to spend too much time with. Just from a timing standpoint, maybe sometime later on in the year we'll circle back and give that more of a look. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is getting a remake, and I'm going to throw that into the C tier. Now, as far as games getting a remake, this is one of the last ones I would have thought of. This is one that I don't even know how they came to a conclusion that they were going to remake it. Now, I loved Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I think it's a really good game. Is it a game that needs a remake? I don't think so. It'll be nice to have a visual uplift on it, but not overly excited for the remake, and it will be interesting to see what they price it at, because it is a very short game, so we'll see on that. But definitely a game you should at least have on your radar, and if you never played the original, well, then the remake is going to be worthwhile for you to check out. Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden, we're going to throw in the B tier. Now, some of you guys might be surprised that I'm putting it this highly, and why I've always been down on Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden isn't the fact that I'm not excited for the game. No, if you actually look into the game, it looks quite good, and it looks like Don't Nod Entertainment's biggest budget title that they've ever put out. It looks like a rather compelling game. Narratively, aesthetically, there's a lot to sink your teeth into. This game was initially scheduled for November, and one of the reasons they delayed the game is because there was too much competition and too many games coming out. Well, now you're coming out in February, and my standpoint has been, you're coming out in a period with just as much, if not more, competition, so I am worried for Banishers from that standpoint. Initially, it had looked like it was also going to be a $70 game, which I just thought would have been a complete misfire. Looks like it has been adjusted to being a $60 price tag, which I think much more suits this game, and hopefully it does well. Don't Nod, again, incredibly talented studio. Life is Strange, Vampire, two games that I really enjoyed. Life is Strange, obviously, a larger franchise, but we'll see what they do with Banishers. They do a good job with narrative-driven games, and hoping Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden turn out well. Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4, the PS5 versions, we're going to throw that into the D tier. It's Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4. Love the games, already played them. They're 80 to 100 hour games, and not looking to replay them again at this point, but I will definitely play through all of the Legend of Heroes titles at some point. The fact that I even would just say that casually is like wild to think about. That's like such a wild undertaking, but I love Legend of Heroes. If you never played Trails of Cold Steel, go play 1 and 2, and then you can check out 3 and 4 on PS5 for sure, but for me, I was going to go into the D tier. Not overly excited for the PS5 releases. King's Arthur, Knight's Tale, also going to go into the D tier. Just not really my style of game. Has been available on PC, received fairly well on there, but now coming to PlayStation 5, that is going to slide into the D tier. We're going to throw Pacific Drive into the B tier. Cautiously excited for this game. Love the visual style. Love the gameplay style to the game. A bit of a driving game mixed with a survival game. Looks incredibly interesting and unique in that regard. It's been in development for a little bit. We initially saw the game, I want to say, at a State of Play, and caught a lot of eyes then. It is a more budget release at $30, so that's obviously pretty good, and I think it finds a comfortable slot in the B tier. Excited for it. Hoping it turns out well. That comes out at the end of February. C tier, we're gonna put Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. A lot of you guys might be surprised that I would even put it in the C tier, but at the end of the day, this is a big budget title. It is coming from Rocksteady, which you can think of Rocksteady what they want. I still like to remember them as the studio that brought forth one of the greatest game trilogies of all time with Batman Arkham. I hope that Suicide Squad at least offers a lot of fun as a cooperative experience. Do I expect it to be as good as the Batman Arkham games? No, I don't, and that's unfortunate to think about given that it's been 9 years since the release of Arkham Knight, but but what I do hope for is that Suicide Squad is still a fun, over-the-top superhero action title, and I do think we're gonna get that to an extent. Not a fan of the early access gimmick. If you pay for the deluxe edition, you'll play the game before February even starts. Not a fan of battle passes being included in a $70 release, so that stuff is fairly whack, but we'll still throw Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League into the C tier. We're gonna put Granblue Fantasy Relink at the A tier as well. Some of you guys are surprised this isn't at the S tier, and remember, Granblue, if you do buy it digitally, you'll play it before February, you'll play it January 29th. Incredibly excited for the game. It's just S tier is a level above. A tier are those games I'm really excited for. Persona and Granblue go hand to hand. S tier is on another level, my most anticipated game, or one of the year, and a game that I've been looking forward to for years. Now, Granblue I've been looking forward to for years, but not at the level of FF7 Rebirth. Still incredibly excited for it. Really hope that this is the game that showcases Granblue Fantasy to a wider audience over here in the West. It's gonna be a 20 to 25 hour main story, but guys, post-game content, additional quests, multiplayer content, there's gonna be a lot to sink your teeth into when it comes to Granblue Fantasy Relink that I think a lot of you guys are gonna end up spending 70, 80, even 100 hours for completionist runs, so that should be fairly exciting. Granblue Fantasy Relink, easy slide into the A tier. And lastly, we're going to throw Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash into the E tier with Skull and Bones. Not to hate on Jujutsu Kaisen, it's an anime fighting game, 2v2 fighter. If you're a fan of the IP, you'll probably end up having some fun out of the game. A lot of, you know, special editions and whatnot attached to that game as well that I'm not a big fan of, but Bandai Namco got a Bandai Namco these days, so what can you do? But yeah, that'll be in the E tier. Maybe it would be a little bit higher if I was more into the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom, so take that for what you will. But that is going to do it for me. Again, I had a little bit of fun doing this breakdown of this tier list. Some of you guys might be surprised with some of my rankings. Granblue, as much as I talked about it not being an S tier, it's just the excitement level comparison from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Granblue. They are a stage apart. Like, FF7 Rebirth is that game for me this year entirely. You know, it's like FF7 Rebirth, I would probably put a game like, you know, Dragon's Dogma 2 at the 7 Rebirth level, but those are few and far between that you're going to find throughout the year, so I had to put Granblue a tier below. But Granblue, I would say, is my top excited game in the A tier, ahead of Persona 3 Reload, but Persona 3 Reload is certainly still an A tier game, if you get what I'm saying. Tier list a little bit new to me, but thought this would be fun to do, and had a good time breaking down February's releases. There's more games coming out in February. There's stuff like Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered, and there's other titles coming out as well. I know Fate Samurai is getting some DLC, which I'm very excited for, but that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.